Gunsmoke remains one of television's most enduring westerns, remembered for its powerful storytelling and unforgettable characters. To audiences, Dodge City felt like a place of order, guided by the steady presence of Marshal Matt Dillon. Yet behind the camera, the reality was far more layered. The long-running nature of the series meant that cast and crew spent decades working closely together, and like any extended collaboration, relationships evolved in complex ways. At the center of this dynamic stood James Arness, whose commanding portrayal defined the show, and Amanda Blake, whose role as Miss Kitty brought warmth and strength to the screen. While their on-screen chemistry appeared effortless, subtle tensions quietly shaped their off-screen interactions. Over time, stories began to surface hinting that the atmosphere on set was not always as calm as it appeared. These weren't explosive conflicts, but rather quiet strains, moments of misunderstanding, distance, and unspoken pressure. Amanda Blake's later reflections would open a window into this hidden world, revealing that the legacy of Gunsmoke was built not only on great performances, but also on the very human experiences behind them. During its remarkable run, Gunsmoke demanded consistency, discipline, and endurance from everyone involved. Producing episode after episode required long hours, intense focus, and the ability to perform under constant pressure. For James Arness, the responsibility was even greater. As the lead actor, he carried the weight of the show's success, and that burden influenced how he approached his work and his relationships. Many colleagues admired his dedication and professionalism, but some also found him difficult to read. He could be reserved, even distant, especially when immersed in his role. This created an environment where interactions were often shaped by his mood and focus. Amanda Blake, who worked closely with him for years, experienced this firsthand. She respected his commitment, yet also recognized that his intensity could sometimes create emotional distance. The set became a place where professionalism was maintained, but deeper connections were not always easy to build. These subtle tensions didn't disrupt production, but they added a layer of complexity that only those behind the scenes truly understood. Amanda Blake's perspective is particularly valuable because she occupied a unique position within the cast. As Miss Kitty, she was not only a central character but also a stabilizing presence on set. Known for her kindness and diplomacy, she often helped ease tensions when they arose. Unlike others who remained silent about behind-the-scenes dynamics, Blake eventually chose to speak openly about her experiences. Her reflections were not harsh or accusatory, but honest and thoughtful. She acknowledged that James Arness could be challenging at times, yet she also emphasized that his behavior was not rooted in negativity. Instead, it was shaped by the immense pressure he carried and his deep commitment to the role. Blake understood that maintaining a long-running show required more than talent, it required resilience and emotional control. Her ability to see both sides of Arness's personality allowed her to navigate their relationship with balance. Through her words, we gain insight into a professional partnership defined by respect, occasional friction, and a shared dedication to excellence. The production demands of Gunsmoke played a significant role in shaping the relationships on set. Filming schedules were relentless, often leaving little time for rest or personal life. Actors were expected to deliver consistent performances, sometimes shooting multiple scenes in a single day under challenging conditions. For Arness, this meant maintaining the persona of Marshal Dillon almost constantly. The line between character and self could blur, especially when expectations from producers and audiences remained high. This constant pressure affected everyone, but it was especially evident in the show's lead. Amanda Blake recognized that these conditions contributed to the emotional distance she sometimes felt from Arness. He wasn't intentionally unapproachable, rather, he was focused, driven, and carrying a responsibility few others shared. The environment required strength and discipline, but it also created moments of strain. Understanding these pressures helps explain why tensions existed, not as signs of conflict, but as natural outcomes of a demanding creative process. One of the most fascinating aspects of James Arness was the contrast between his on-screen character and his real personality. As Marshal Dillon, he embodied calm authority, fairness, and unwavering confidence. Off-screen, however, he was more reserved and introspective. This difference sometimes made him appear distant to those who didn't know him well. Amanda Blake observed this duality closely. She understood that Arness took his role seriously, often internalizing the responsibility that came with it. His quiet nature wasn't coldness, but a reflection of his focus and personality. Still, this contrast could create misunderstandings. Colleagues who expected the same openness as his character sometimes found it difficult to connect with him. Blake's insights reveal that this gap between perception and reality was a key factor in the dynamics on set. It highlights how actors, especially those in iconic roles, often carry the weight of their characters beyond the screen, shaping how others perceive and interact with them. Relationships among the cast of Gunsmoke were shaped by a mixture of admiration, tension, and mutual respect. While some found Arness difficult at times, others spoke highly of his loyalty and professionalism. He formed strong bonds with certain co-stars, demonstrating that his personality was not one-dimensional. Amanda Blake's relationship with him reflected this complexity. There were moments of distance, but also understanding and cooperation. She learned how to navigate his moods and maintain a productive working relationship. This balance was essential for the show's success. In long-running productions, personal dynamics inevitably influence performance, and Gunsmoke was no exception. The cast had to find ways to work together despite differences, and Blake played a key role in maintaining harmony. Her ability to manage relationships with grace helped create an environment where the show could thrive. These interactions remind us that behind every successful series is a network of human connections, each contributing to the final product. Behind-the-scenes stories from Gunsmoke offer further insight into the atmosphere on set. Arness was known for his serious approach during filming, often maintaining focus even when others sought lighter moments. This dedication contributed to the authenticity of the show, but it also created a more formal environment. Amanda Blake, by contrast, brought warmth and balance, often helping to lighten the mood when tensions rose. Her presence was essential in maintaining a sense of unity among the cast. At the same time, moments of humor and camaraderie did exist. Cast members shared jokes, experienced mishaps, and found ways to relieve stress during long shooting days. These glimpses of laughter reveal that the set was not defined solely by tension, but by a blend of seriousness and connection. The combination of discipline and occasional levity allowed the team to endure the challenges of production. It also underscores how different personalities contributed to the overall dynamic, shaping the experience in subtle but meaningful ways. In her later years, Amanda Blake spoke more openly about her time on Gunsmoke, offering reflections that added depth to the show's legacy. She described James Arness as a man shaped by responsibility, someone who carried the weight of leadership with quiet intensity. While she acknowledged moments when he seemed distant, she also highlighted his generosity and support behind the scenes. These stories revealed a side of Arness that was not always visible to others. Blake's perspective was balanced, emphasizing both the challenges and the respect that defined their relationship. She understood that the pressures of the show influenced behavior, and she approached the subject with empathy rather than criticism. Her willingness to share these insights provided fans with a more complete understanding of what it took to create a series like Gunsmoke. It also demonstrated her own strength and honesty, qualities that made her not just a beloved actress, but a vital part of the show's history. The legacy of Gunsmoke is often viewed through the lens of its characters and stories, but Amanda Blake's reflections remind us that its true foundation lies in the people who brought it to life. The show's success was the result of dedication, collaboration, and the ability to overcome challenges. James Arness played a central role in this achievement, not only as an actor but as a leader. His personality, with all its complexities, influenced the environment in which the series was created. Blake's insights encourage us to see beyond the surface, to recognize that even the most iconic productions are shaped by real human experiences. The tensions she described were not signs of failure, but part of the process of creating something meaningful. They added depth to the relationships and, ultimately, to the performances themselves. This understanding allows us to appreciate Gunsmoke not just as a television show, but as a story of collaboration and perseverance.